Great architecture is not just designed, it is governed. In this module, we'll look at how decisions, reviews, and controls turn TOGAF ADM outputs into secure, compliant enterprise delivery, especially when AI raises the stakes. So far, we've built the foundation: TOGAF concepts, ADM phases, and the secure enterprise AI case study. We then translated that foundation into Azure landing zones: identity, data, AI, zero trust, privacy, and responsible AI. Now the focus shifts to governance: how decisions are reviewed, approved, documented, and controlled as change happens. Architecture governance matters because even good designs can fail without control. It gives teams a practical way to review decisions, manage exceptions, reduce risk, and keep delivery aligned with business goals. The result is less fragmentation, stronger compliance, and architecture that remains useful as conditions change. An operating model turns governance from an informal conversation into a repeatable decision system. It clarifies which bodies decide what: architecture, security, cloud, AI, or other specialist councils. Those groups apply shared standards, policies, reference architectures, and compliance expectations. Reviews happen at meaningful checkpoints across the ADM and delivery lifecycle, not only at the end. Outcomes are recorded as well: approvals, rationale, evidence, exceptions, waivers, and remediation actions. That traceability speeds delivery and makes deviations visible instead of hidden. An architecture board works best when it is more than a group of architects. It is a decision forum with the right representation for the risks being accepted. Enterprise, domain, cloud, data, security, and platform leaders bring technical judgment. Business, product, and operations leaders bring value, delivery, and operational concerns. Risk, compliance, privacy, or legal join when decisions affect regulated obligations. For an Azure AI initiative, AI, data, identity, security, compliance, and platform voices all need a seat at the table. The goal is balanced governance: decisions that are feasible, secure, affordable, and operable. This is where enterprise intent becomes practical governance. The architecture board reviews major architecture work, such as vision, target states, transition plans, and significant solution designs, to make sure decisions fit strategy. It also approves the standards, reference architectures, reusable patterns, and principles that teams are expected to follow. Just as importantly, the board monitors compliance. When teams request exceptions or waivers, it evaluates risk, records acceptance, and tracks remediation. The purpose is not to slow delivery. It is to give teams clear guardrails so innovation can happen without uncontrolled technology divergence. Decision rights are the governance contract for architecture. They answer three questions: what must be approved, who has authority, and what can be delegated. Enterprise decisions usually cover standards, target architectures, platforms, major exceptions, and accepted risk. Domain decisions translate those choices into areas such as data, integration, application modernization, and security controls. Team decisions should stay close to delivery. Implementation choices inside approved guardrails. The value is speed with control. When authority is explicit, teams do not wait for unnecessary approvals, boards do not review every detail, and the organization avoids quiet drift from its architecture direction. Authority should match consequence. A low-risk design choice can stay with the delivery team. A decision that affects critical business outcomes, major cost, regulatory obligations, or enterprise platforms needs broader review. The point is to make accountability explicit, not to slow teams down. Escalation paths matter when people disagree, residual risk is above tolerance, or an exception needs executive acceptance. Good governance sits between two failures: teams making high-impact decisions in isolation and committees reviewing everything. The goal is the right decision in the right forum with the right level of evidence and the right owner. Governance checkpoints turn architecture review into a continuous discipline, not a single approval event. As work moves from vision through design, security, compliance, deployment, and post-implementation review, each gate asks a simple question: are we ready to proceed? Strong checkpoints are explicit. They define what must be complete before review, what criteria will be assessed, what evidence is required, and what decision can be made: pass, revise, or hold. The key is integration. These gates should fit both the ADM lifecycle and the organization's agile, DevOps, or portfolio delivery rhythm. Early checkpoints reduce uncertainty before expensive work begins. The architecture vision gate asks whether the business outcome is clear, the right stakeholders are engaged, and the scope, constraints, and success measures are realistic. The high-level design gate then tests the direction: target architecture, core capabilities, platform choices, and integration approach. In the Azure AI case, these reviews should challenge the value of each AI use case, data readiness, identity model, landing zone fit, and security posture. The aim is to catch misalignment early, while changes are still affordable. Mid-lifecycle design assurance is where architecture becomes testable, not just aspirational. The detailed design gate checks whether components, integrations, data flows, operational dependencies, and technology choices can actually be built and run. The security gate challenges the design against zero trust, identity, secrets, threat modeling, logging, monitoring, and incident response expectations. The compliance gate confirms privacy, regulation, classification, retention, auditability, and responsible AI obligations. The outcome should not be informal agreement. Each gate produces findings, required actions, and a clear decision: approve, conditionally approve, or send the design back for rework. Late-stage governance has two distinct jobs. Before go live, the deployment readiness gate asks whether the solution can operate safely. Monitoring is in place, resilience is proven, rollback and recovery are clear, support teams are ready, and cost and release controls are approved. After go live, the post-implementation review asks whether reality matched the approved architecture and expected business outcomes. It also captures unresolved risks, technical debt, lessons learned, and repository updates. For AI platforms, this review must include model behavior, responsible AI controls, data drift, and security events. Architecture compliance is where intent becomes proof. Teams compare the delivered design and implementation against approved standards, patterns, security controls, and regulatory requirements. The result is not just pass or fail. It should distinguish what is compliant, what is non-compliant, what remains an open risk, and what has been formally accepted as a deviation. Evidence matters: diagrams, decision records, threat models, test results, access reviews, policy reports, and audit logs. Together, these create traceability, assign ownership for fixes, and give auditors and leaders a clear basis for risk decisions. Strong governance allows flexibility without losing control. When a team cannot meet a requirement, the first step is to identify the gap and assess its impact. A waiver may temporarily defer the requirement. An exception approves a documented deviation. Both need a business reason, a time limit, and compensating controls. From there, define remediation, corrective actions, owners, dates, evidence, and progress tracking. Any remaining risk must be explicitly accepted by the right authority. Finally, revisit the decision, verify progress, and close it when the risk is resolved or reapproved. Architecture governance turns good design into a dependable enterprise capability. The architecture board defines who decides, what gets reviewed, and how issues escalate. Checkpoints protect quality from vision through deployment and review. Compliance depends on evidence, remediation, waivers, and accepted residual risk. Next, we connect governance to the TOGAF content framework, requirements management, and architecture communication.